Welcome back to Bite-Sized Theology. Today we're asking the question, what is the church? Now, when you hear the word church, what comes to mind? A building, maybe a service, maybe even a place you go on Sunday. Well, the Bible gives us a much bigger picture. The church is not just a building that you attend, it's actually a people you belong to. 1 Corinthians 12:27 says, "Now you are the body of Christ, and each one of you is a part of it." That means that the church can be where we gather, but there's this larger eternal church that is made up of all who have been brought into relationship with God through Jesus. Not just here, not just in one place, but across the world and across time. Colossians 1:18 tells us that Christ is the head of the body. He's the head of the church. So the church isn't centered on a personality, a leader, or even a style. It is centered on Jesus. One of the earliest Christian leaders, Cyprian of Carthage, once said, "He cannot have God as father who does not have the church as mother." That might sound strong at first, but the point is simple. Following Jesus is not something just personal. It's communal. We don't just believe on our own. We worship together. We grow together. We carry one another through life. In Hebrews 10:24 through 25, the author says, "Let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encourage one another," the author says. The Christian life was never meant to be lived alone. Jesus said in John 13:34 through 35 that we are to love one another as he has loved us, and that by this, everyone will know that they are his disciples. Catch this because it is really important. The defining mark of the church is not just what we believe, it's how we love, especially in a divided world. The church is meant to be a picture of a different kind of community. Not perfect, but unified around Jesus. And the church doesn't exist just for itself. A prominent 20th century church leader once said, "The church is the only society that exists for the benefit of those who are not its members." In other words, the church is sent. We gather weekly to be formed, but we scatter to be faithful. Jesus also gave the church two practices that make the gospel visible: baptism and the Lord's Supper. Baptism is a picture of new life in Jesus, and the Lord's Supper reminds us of his body broken and his blood shed for us. These are rituals, but they aren't just rituals. They are reminders of who we are and what Jesus has done. So what is the church? Well, the church is the body of Christ with Jesus as its head. It's a family of people brought together by grace. It's a community marked by love and unity. It's a people sent into the world on mission, and it's a people who remember the gospel together. Or simply put, the church is not just a place you go, it's a people you belong to. So here's a reflection for you this week. Don't just ask, do I go to church? Ask, am I living as part of the church? Who are you walking with? Who are you encouraging? Who are you helping take a step toward Jesus? Because the church isn't something we consume or watch or are spectators. It's something we're called to be. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on Bite-Sized Theology.